Hi everyone! First and foremost, I would like to thank our lecturer, Madam Nadira Binti Nordin, for giving me opportunity to be here today. Before I begin, I would like to quickly introduce myself. I'm Fatira Binti Abdullah with the metric 07DKF21F2036 and I'm from Civil Engineering Department. Did you know the state of Sabah has many unique and tourist attractions? Apart from that, Sabah also has many hills to climb. This is also one of the tourist attractions for the sport of climbing. The hill climbers are not just to climb to hill, but they come to Sabah to climb a Mount Kinabalu. So, before we climb Mount Kinabalu, which we just ride without wanting to know the history or the legend behind the Mount Kinabalu? I don't think so. Although famous for its highest mountain, but the origin of his name cannot be identified specifically. There are several theories where Mount Kinabalu gets its name ranging from the Kadazan Dusun folklore to involving a Chinese prince. So, I will according to the point. The first point is Kina and Balu. The second point is Kino Hiringan and Umun Sumundu. The last point is Gayunakan. What is Gayunakan? Gayunakan is the king of giants. So, let me start. What is the history for the legend of Kina and Balu? So, there is also a story told by the locals that the name of Mount Kinabalu was taken in conjunction with the loyalty of a wife who is waiting for her husband's return. It is said that in ancient times, there was a prince from the Chinese kingdom who was sailing. But unfortunately, the prince's ship was hit by the strong wave and the prince was swept away by the current. The prince was rescued by the village chief and villagers whose location was unknown. The prince was treated by the village chief's family. After recovering, the prince had fallen in love with the village chief's daughter, and they will get married. After that, the prince wanted to return to his kingdom and promised and will come to invite her wife. Since that, every day, prince's wife would climb to the top of the mountain to await the return of her beloved husband. But day after day, the shadow of her husband did not arrive until the prince's wife died at the top of the mountain. The mountain god was very sorry for the prince's wife, then had cursed her to be stoned that always fast to the South China Sea because of obedience and loyalty awaiting her husband's return. That is the origin of the name Mount Kinabalu, which means Kina for Chinese, and the Balu is the wife left by the husband. What the story about the Kino Hiringan and Umun Sumundu? The correction made of the Kadazan Dusun trip tell how the supreme deadly Kino Hiringan and his wife Umun Sumundu create the universe. Umun Sumundu from the earth, while her husband Kino Hiringan create the sky, the climb, and everything on earth. Having finished with the correction, they sent an eagle namely Kondio to fly high into the sky to report the beauty of the correction. However, Kondio brought news that embraced Kino Hiringan as well as hurt his Definitely. Based on what the bird saw, the size of the cloud Kinahiringan created was too small for the earth beneath it. Upon learning that her husband had been humanly, Umansumundu not modified the size of the earth to fit the size of the cloud involved, making Mount Kinabalu or Kinorungai the center of the world and restoring Kinohiringan's dignity. What is Gayanakan? Let's a story about time. According to the oral stories passed down from generation to generation, at the base of Mount Kinabalu, there is a giant king named Gayanakan. What is meaning of Gayanakan? Gayanakan is strong eating. The giant has ordered the locals to prepare food for him. The locals had to follow the instructions because the giant was the king. But eventually, his people could no longer afford to provide food for the voracious Gayanakan. Gayanakan, who listened to the grievance of his people, felt sympathy and was willing to sacrifice for their well-being. Gayanakan also suggests that his people plant him at the top of Mount Kinabalu. All the common people agreed and brought all the equipment to the summit of Mount Kinabalu to make a hall. But a fourth day only in when, because of the hard surface of the mount, so that they feel hopeless. After seeing the situation, Gayanakan uttered the magic words. Then she sang to shoulder level at the top of Mount. Before drawing, the giant king had time to say to all the residents present that they would be hit by a prolonged drought and famine due to the imperfection and quick to give it. Gayanakan had promised them that he would help them in the war. After that, the people feel greatly and sorry for what they did, and they promised to perform a sacrificial ceremony in pool near the summit of the Mount Kinabalu. Before I end my early presentation, I would like to let you know that each place has a history and legend descently following the generation, as well as each place also has its own beliefs. Before we want to go to another place that holds fast to the belief, we must take note and correct our intention and do not incident things so as not to affect the dignity of the place. And before I finish the order, I want to give an example that happening in 2015. A group of Europe tourists were doing something that should not be done, napping naked at the top of Mount Kinabalu and caused an earthquake measuring 5.9 scala. Due to not maintaining the manners, the whole of Sabah was affected, and the worst in Ranau, involving the loss of life of 18 people, including mountain guide. They believe that the guardian of the mountain were furious with the action of the tourists. So, in conclusion, we must maintain manners and respect the belief in the place. So much for the legend of Kinabalu.